Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to another match in the Abstraction Cup tournament. We are back for yet another winner's bracket match between the likes of QQ Robot and Disciples of Triple T, Seed 11 against Seed 22. These are both going to be some insane teams that we got in the winner's bracket, and unfortunately one of them has to go into the loser's bracket no matter what. It's going to be some friendly fire between some of our axe players in this tournament. But before we get into that, as usual, I'm your host, Epic Man 2, and joining alongside me is going to be none other than LivelyPeninsula. What's rocking?
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for that wonderful introduction, Epic Man. Yeah, I am excited to see how these two teams are going to perform. So, it's round 32, and like what you said, one of these teams has to go to the loser's bracket. It's unfortunate, but it's the name of the game. It is what it is, so I'm just really looking forward to see how these two teams are going to perform.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot that we have to unravel here for this match in particular, considering for the fact that this is going to be one of the busiest hours that we got almost within our tournament as well for today as well. So we still have a lot of matches that are going to be coming after this one while we are going to be focusing on this one. It does look like the first ban is going to be coming from the likes of Disciples of Triple T. So from what it looks like, it does look like Rise 5 is going to be getting the ban. So that's going to be side by side, the more dump tech oriented map not going to be allowed on for this one, whereas Rise 6 and Ellen Free will be protected.
Very interesting. So, QQ Robot has Cappuccino and Veloce. And for, what's it again? The Disciples of Triple T.
Yeah,
Disciples has... Yeah. So that's Lasting Diarrhea and New Dragon. Okay. Very interesting. So, I know very well who Lasting Diarrhea is. He's very proficient when it comes to hybrids and long notes. Isn't really too shabby when it comes to Rise as well. New Dragon, I think, is going to be the one who's going to make up for the Rise aspect. Meanwhile, we have Veloce and Cappuccino. I mean, I know that Veloce is like one of those players that can do pretty much everything. So I'm looking forward to what that's going to be like.
Absolutely, and especially the fact that both these teams are pretty much well-rounders by default. So we have the likes of on QQ Robot, Veloce, and Cappuccino. Cappuccino is basically one of the stronger Chinese players that we had as well, having played in many tournaments, including Togo Cup 4 and also some Mania World Cup iterations as well under CRZ nickname. So that's already quite a bit of a strong team by default, even having to, adjust from the screenings from earlier on because they were both originally paired with different partners until that point onwards, but they still did a pretty good damn job being able to almost top seed. While Disciples of Triple T, yeah.
Wait, Cappuccino is nickname? Okay, well that explains it. I was
they named
this guy. I didn't even know that. Okay, thank you for pointing it out. I had no idea this guy was nickname.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think it's something that many people really noticed, especially like going into this tournament, because I think for a while nickname has kind of just been chilling when it came to most tournaments. This is like, I think, their first tournament in a long time, especially, if I'm not mistaken.
So we're gonna have Lasting Diarrhea here for Disciples of Triple T. So now we're just waiting for who's gonna be the player for QQ Robot. Honestly, this is gonna be a bit hard to call. I think both of them can play well. But if I were QQ Robot, I'd put nickname for this, because Veloce I'd say has slightly better accuracy, but you want to save that for when the Ellen hybrids picks come into play. Now, I'm not saying that nickname can't do Ellens or hybrids. I'm just saying that I think in terms of strengths, that's what QQ Robot has to take note of. And since you mentioned like players can only play 3 charts in a row, something like that, so it's like Speed of Light 3, and there we go.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, Cappuccino and New Dragon, these two, yeah, I agree with this. You want to save Lasting Diarrhea for Triple T, and you want to save, what's this again? You want to save Veloce for the LN picks. I agree with these two choices right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for a map like Hyperventilation, for example, it makes all the more sense that we would be seeing some of the more consistency-driven players going out into the ring for this one, as the client is unfortunately not going to be lining up with us today, as Cappuccino is going to be off to an early start with this map. New Dragon, has basically no evidence to ride off of until now, as we hit the panic button, and we should be ready for this one, hopefully.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, there was a 98, but don't trust that it was just the client being the client. It happens.
Yeah.
So, what I'm scared about is, okay, it's gonna be an accuracy battle for sure, but back when Nickname was playing for China in the Mini World Cup, I don't really think he had an extremely high accuracy ceiling compared to like many of the top physical players at the time. But right now, it's looking like Nickname has improved a lot and is very comfortable acting this chart. And so is New Dragon. New Dragon is in a position where if Nickname or Cappuccino right now makes one mistake, the lead's definitely gonna shift.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with this one being one of the longest maps we have in this regular map pool. To this one, I'm assuming the main reason as to why Nickname is playing this is because they mentioned in the IRC chat that they needed to warm up a little bit. So kind of trying to dust off the cobwebs on their physicality and consistency game. That's going to really matter a lot, especially with this one being, this map possibly being a really big helping hand in doing so, as it looks like both players are still at FC pace right now going past the first third. It's only just about 2,000 of points of difference right now in the favor of Nickname, but New Dragon's doing a really good job to ensure that Nickname is being in check throughout this map.
Well, these core jacks will certainly make the accuracy a bit higher, but you have those like bursts which could easily make you drop a bit if you're not paying attention. So like right now, Kafu is dropping slowly, but it's not to the extent where New Dragon is right now. So there's really not much to worry about, other than the fact that this is 4 minutes long, so anything can still happen, especially if you lose that token.
Absolutely, especially for, you know, the fact that this map still has a lot of different patterns that it just throws at you, especially this guitar solo section that we have. It's like very brief, but it introduces a lot of these really burst-oriented patterns. And we also have these long jacks that come in afterwards, which can definitely throw off a lot of players if they aren't too ready for it, or at least when they least expect it, in fact.
Well, typically, I know these players would have practiced these charts at least even a little bit. But even Cappuccino is slowly dropping right now, so that's kind of a scary sign. Just because I think that there's the fatigue aspect of this chart as well, where as the chart progresses over time, you're gonna get a bit more tired and you're gonna lose that precision, which you could also end up dropping some 200. So he's gotta be careful there, not to overexert. Just make sure to keep this lead. It doesn't have to increase so much. Just has to stay at where they are right now, and I think the win should be at their side.
Yeah, I think at that point, the main thing you need to look out for is the final section that comes after this, because yes, you still have a lot of these bursts. That jump trill is going to shift the tides a bit, as Nickname is going to drop tremendously on that one. Even if it weren't a miss, the accuracy consistency from the side of New Dragon has done enough to ensure that there was that safety cushion to ensure Nickname could just switch it over if it does come down to a choke. And this section is really scary. There's no way anyone can drop now. Wait, no.
Tafu is dropping a little bit, but it's not gonna matter. These bursts, I don't think. Whoa! Who's gonna win? Oh my goodness! Wait! Oh my 98 points! See, this is what I was saying. I was saying that the problem is it's 4 minutes long, and Cappuccino had the higher accuracy, like 99% of the chart. And then at the very end, that one pattern pretty much gave it away. This is what I was saying. All Cappuccino needed to do was to ensure that they were at 99.89 or 99.87. They didn't have to try to overexert it. Unfortunately, when you drop those like greats, goods, and bads in a part like that, typically you're super locked in and you're sort of like forgetting, oh no, what's gonna be the next pattern or something like that. You tend to drop those kinds of mistakes, especially when the fatigue is really high. And that's really what this chart is all about. I am really impressed at how composed New Dragon was. They literally just waited for the right moment to steal that point.
Indeed. That is probably one of the worst maps that this could have happened on as well. The fact that it's 4 minutes long, longer than most picks we would usually see in a round as early as round of 32 as well. So that is going to be an insane breakpoint to take for the likes of Disciples of Triple T, and definitely going to set the standard for how tough this match may be for them as we await the following pick that's going to respond. I think Rise 2 would honestly be a competitive pick between these two, but I would assume it's probably too dangerous to bring it out this early. What do you figure that, Els?
Huh. Give me one, I'm still thinking. So wait, what were you saying again? Just so I know, just so I'm on the same boat as you. So it's a risk to what?
Yeah. Rice 2, would it be dangerous to bring it out early into a match, considering how Rice 3 went?
You need more information, honestly. And now that you're picking Hybrid 3, so you're gonna try to get Veloce into the board. I think the problem with a pick like that is I feel like you're gonna force Lasting Diarrhea to play more by the tail end of this chart, of this match. And when that happens, because you're gonna start to run out of Rice picks. And when that happens, I don't think it's a good sign for the Disciples of Triple T, because you don't want to let that happen, where you're gonna be forced to use a player who isn't exactly that proficient, especially at the last moments. So I think the correct strategy right now is to try and secure this 1-0 lead. Pick something that Lasting Diarrhea is good at, and I think this is the strategy that they have to go with.
Yeah, exactly. I think Hybrid 3 is definitely a bit of a double-edged sword. At that point, it's basically like, if you're gripping the likes of Darth Maul's lightsaber, you want to ensure that you're doing it on the right frame, where this map kind of reciprocates that feeling where it's a very Rice-biased hybrid, so definitely very distinguished from the other ones. And the fact that it's at ODA with all the element powers that are in it, especially some of these really heavy flams and bursts that the map just has all the way through, it definitely can be really difficult for all players to go through as well, as Lost Scenario is going to be off to a start.
I mean, it happened to Disciples of Triple T. Might as well happen as well to Kiki Robot.
It's eye for an eye now.
Exactly. Well, let's see. I just hope this isn't... I hope there's no disconnects. I mean, okay, if it was a disconnect, it happened literally at the start, so it would still count. Can we please have the panic button right now, just in case? If not, then I guess we'll be looking at Lasting Diarrhea play. I mean, this accuracy is extremely good right now, but just like what happened in the previous chart, you can't just let that be like a cushion, because nothing is safe nowadays.
Indeed, yeah, there's just a lot that has to really be unraveled for a pick like this, and the fact that we just don't even have any information as to what is happening on Veloci's end is basically going to kind of stick us around for a bit, and we just don't even know what exactly is going to happen. It's just the fear of the unknown that's just really wavering its ticket at this point.
So it's gonna be a guessing game. We'll just wait when it's all over, when it's all said and done, you know? And maybe the panic button isn't working. We can't really just, what do you call this again? We can't really just infer on what's happening with Veloce. I will say with confidence though, this performance from Lasting Diarrhea, right now, it's more than enough to get a high chance at getting a point. Okay, there we go. Here's the panic. Okay, let's see.
Oh, finally.
But Veloce is Veloce, so I know that he's really good in these kinds of charts. He's massively improved on these. No surprise to see him perform well. But the problem is, remember what we saw in the previous chart? Nothing is safe. And with these bursts present here, it's definitely not gonna be. It's definitely gonna be anyone's game. But yeah, speaking of anyone's game, it's just 0.03 right now.
Bro,
oh my god.
No, we are not having this again. This is literally the last final hard section of the map.
It's gotta be. I think it's gonna be a double. It could be a double V1 double S here. Okay, but Veloci's dropping a bit of back on those bursts. Last area drops. That's it. That's the golden opportunity for QQ Robot to secure this lead. That's it, I think. But there's some jacks though.
This is the ending of the map is basically the most nothing burger part of the map itself, where it's the minute you like choke on the last stretch of the course, it's basically over by that point because there's just no difficulty left in this. It's just really acting apparent, and unless you like just choke on any of these, then it's basically a death sentence at that point. So 996k goes in the favor of Veloce. A killing in the dark, as I want to say, a V1 double S 256 perfects on this one. That is going to bring another breakpoint in the favor of QQ Robot for the time being. That is, they're basically 1-1 in everything. They're 1-1. They have an eye for an eye on climb buffers. They have an eye for an eye on these breakpoints. Where do they go next, even?
Remember when I said that disciples of Triple T should avoid picking something where a player might have to play consecutively because they could run out of picks? I think QQ Robot has more of a freedom to pick that because I feel like Veloci has an advantage when it comes to Rise compared to Lasting Diarrhea, assuming that Triple T will choose Lasting Diarrhea to play against Veloci. Problem is though, okay, so they're picking LN1. I don't have a problem with that pick, but the challenge here is Lasting Diarrhea is extremely good at LNs. Yeah, that was a hybrid, so sure, Triple T lost that pick, but LNs are different. I think Lasting Diarrhea might be able to have a better chance at something like this. And you have to remember, the ratio difference in the previous chart was like, what, 20 perfects-ish? It wasn't even that far apart.
Yeah, I don't think I like this pick. This pick is like kind of in the middle because it's like it's definitely the easiest LN by far, or at least like if you were to put it side by side with the likes of Perseverance and also Algorithm, which are way more technical than this one, but it's just really the intricacy that really starts to waver on every player that touches this when it comes to a match. So I definitely think that picking LN1, arguably, it's kind of the more middle ground pick. It's definitely something that you'd see more when you're trying to play neutral, but it's definitely a pick that can be dangerous if it does come down to the fact that, you know, your finger independence is not really the way you'd expect it. Albeit, Veloce and Lasting Diarrhea are both absolute connoisseurs when it comes to these LN maps in general, so it's going to be really hard to tell who actually has an advantage on this one.
Alright, now I'm really looking forward to see this. However, currently Veloci has... Okay, we did see the act difference in the previous chart. It wasn't that far apart. Right now though, very interesting. I was thinking this would also be super close. I mean, it still kind of is, but with differences this high, precision, like, it's going to be... The difference from like 99.9, 99.7 is bigger than like, let's say, 99.6 and 99.5, at least in my opinion, because it requires a significantly higher amount of precision. And right now, Lasting Diarrhea unfortunately has to play a big game of catch-up here.
Yeah, especially with some of the most minuscule drops, there's always that nuance that can really start to tank the scores of many players going into a map like this. Even if Lasting Diarrhea hasn't even placed a single foot wrong, it's just really some of these lighter misjudgments that can really bring things into an advantage where they may not want to. Even if Veloce is not even that far ahead by only 1,000 points and just variable around that margin, it just keeps switching around it. The minute Veloce ends up tripping on this map, this could literally be it for them. because Lord knows how consistent Lost Link Diarrhea is going to be on there. Unless we see something like we saw on Hybrid 3 where they end up choking because of the raw physicality of patterns in one section.
Starting to get closer though, but Veloce has just been gaining accuracy, and that's gonna be a massive problem. Unless we see a massive shakeup from Veloce, I don't see anything changing here. But it looks really close. It definitely is.
Ooh.
But the amount of precision required to get a 99.9 is another world compared to, let's say, 99.85. But it's running out of time. Can it still happen? I unfortunately don't think so.
No.
It's a really good performance from both players, but
it's...
Veloce was just so much more precise here.
This is... Bro, this score difference is edging me. I can't deal with this. There's no way. Is that it? 1,000? Oh, okay. Thank God.
1,000. That's a ratio difference of... Yeah, that's a big ratio
grade.
difference. 52. Wait, no, that's... Yeah, 52, I think. And then 1 grade, so...
Yeah, 52.
This is a really impressive performance from Veloce. Double S on that. But, yeah, Last Area is not far behind. It's really just the consistency of Veloce here.
Indeed, yeah. That is going to make it 2-1 in favor of QQ Robot for the time being, especially with 3 picks in a row that were super, super close. Even with some sections of a map that ended up tripping over one player after another, it just keeps going on and on. So I think at this point, Disciples of Triple T is going to have to switch it up a little bit. They did pretty good on Rise 3. So I would imagine, depending on if they want to try and at least work around the max 3-player rule, if anything, they could definitely go back to the Rise category. Because I'd imagine Hybrid 1 would probably be too risky to throw out as the next pick, I feel.
Right. So now what does Triple T even go for? You don't have an advantage in Hybrid, you don't have an advantage of LN, and the one Rise pick that you won, it was just 90 points. I think tactically wise, QQ Robot has the edge here. But Triple T, they can win on something, but I don't know, they don't have many safe picks. They don't have any safe picks, I'd say. While QQ Robot probably has like 4 or 5 of them. I'd say Triple T just go with... Yeah, go for Rise 2 at this point. Like, if you're gonna go for something, at least go for something related to what you won on. You know?
Yeah. I definitely think that makes the most sense on paper. I think a general story is that... I think the general notion here is that even all the Rise picks are kind of just risky at this point. Rise 2 is like the most similar to that of Rise 3, and I can definitely imagine we could get a really similar situation and if it does come down to the fatigue from, you know, at least one of our players coming in. But at the same time, that map also comes with its own fair share of jump scares as well to see, you know, just a bit of a check on who actually is sight reading the map or not and who is basically doing what they can. It's either that or any other Rise pick is going to be pretty much problematic, or at least if it does come down to stuff like Rise 4 or Rise 6, for example.
Okay, so... Well... Wait, whose pick is it? Huh.
This one should be... This one should be Triple T.
Wait a minute, huh? I'm confused right now. But okay.
Okay, there go
It's
Rise
Rise
2.
2. There we go.
It's
Yeah,
time.
This is the only valid pick. I think this and Rise 4. Because honestly, at this point, you're not out-ratioing QQ Robot. I think they had the better ratio even on that Rise pick. I don't think you're out-ratioing them, like either player, but they could at the very least force them to drop grades, goods, and 50s. That's gonna be the strategy here. It's not gonna be the rank game. It's gotta be the 50 grade good. That should be their strategy here, in my opinion.
Precisely. At that point, it's essentially the name of the game is to try and at least get as close as you can to a pick that can be disadvantageous to them, but you can utilize that to basically try and perform and exceed your expectations within a map like this, for example. As it stands, it looks like Veloce is going to go free on their third map on a row, while New Dragon is going to be coming back in to really dice up the Rice category. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. We'll just have to see how New Dragon performs on this, because there is quite a lot we can try and take a gander at, but nothing just seems really visible at the moment, I think, if it makes sense.
Fair enough. Now, there's a problem. So you're saying that Veloce... Well, to be fair, QQ Robot's pick is the next. They have their pick, so I wouldn't say it's a problem. It would be a problem if it was the Triple T's pick after this, and Veloce is still playing third at the time. Because at that point, Triple T is just gonna pick LN, and I think they'll be able to beat Cappuccino on that. Although Cappuccino is a very good LN player in that regard.
Yeah, indeed. Watch the trail.
I see I see what they're trying to do here. I see what Triple T's trying to do. They want to hope that these trails would make would make Cappuccino drop grades like they did before. What they probably didn't expect was that Veloce was gonna play this instead. So in a way, I think this is a smart move from QQ Robot, because its next pick, they have the liberty to pick a Rice pick, which probably Nickname is really good at. I'm gonna guess that's gonna be either Rice 1 or Rice 4. So QQ Robot, tactically, they just have so much ground. They can do so many things right now. And I don't think Triple Team has noticed that yet.
It's like, just a really big advantage for a lot of...
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, what? Huh?
That was on an LN. That was on an LN, I think. I did not... Okay. Huh.
Alright.
This makes things very interesting. If Triple T can secure this point, then I think everything that I just said is sort of nullified. Why is that? Because now it pretty much just evens the score, and QQ Robot will not have the liberty of what I've mentioned. Yes, Nickname still gets the pick, but New Dragon doesn't have to switch immediately, if that makes sense, because this is New Dragon's first chart, and Veloce has to exit after this.
I mean, well, technically New Dragon's second map, or, well, first map after their...
No, I'm talking about, like, the first chart in, like, the cycle, you know, the cycle of 3 maps in a row. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I only just clocked that. Sorry about that. Yeah, so, I think it makes the most sense. I think when it comes to a lot of well-rounded teams, I think it really helps most teams to be able to play, to have both players being able to play just about anything, because that way you can pretty much just work around the fact that you don't really need to switch out for, you know, a variety of maps or something. If, you know, you're going to have to get pressured by your opponent team to be forced to play on a map that you're basically going to struggle on. And especially here, Veloce is doing really good despite that one miss from earlier. It's just really down to New Dragon to take a miss of their own to bring it back, because but the likelihood of that is going to be slim. Let's see how they do on the quads.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It is very slim, but we've seen anything happen. New Dragon cannot drop 50s or grades or goods. Any bad judgment, they should not. Because Veloce is right at their back. Can easily take this if New Dragon commits any mistake. These trails are no joke to sight read, by the way, because I think New Dragon is sight reading this too. Oh my goodness. Wow. Actually, wow.
It was slowly decreasing. Come on, New Dragon just needs to hold. If they hold this on the final jump trail, it's over. It's over.
Very good. That's a very good performance from New Dragon. Veloce had much better act, but the 2 misses were way too much. New Dragon only had 200. It could have been a V1 double S for Veloce and also for New Dragon, but those unfortunate judgments had to come in. Now QQ Robot picks LN2, but
oh boy,
remember, it's gotta be Nickname to play this. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this choice at all. I think it should have been Rice 4. It should have been Rice 1. Because Nickname now has got to play this, I'd say. Like, right?
Yeah.
Because of the 3-player in a row rule. I don't like this pick.
Exactly.
I think this is not a good pick.
This is very risky from QQ Robot, given that they had basically gone through the 3-player in a row rule. So it does look like Veloz is at least aware of that. So could we be seeing Nickname go into this and actually thrashing what we would have expected initially? Because I feel like the possibility of that might be a thing.
Let's see first. Honestly speaking, though, I'm not sure at how much Nickname. I'm not sure at Nickname's accuracy on long notes right now. Is it okay? Like, I have a question for you. When the qualifiers happened, did both players play the charts, or did it have to be alternating? Please correct me there.
Both players have to play the charts, yeah.
Okay. So we have like a sort of benchmark on how these players can do. So which one of these was the density pick? Was it LN1 or LN2? I'm talking about qualifiers.
It was LN2 that was the density pick. That was High Bottle's density. Yes. Okay.
Lasting Diarrhea had a 991k on this. Meanwhile, Cappuccino, on the other hand, I'm looking for his score. Well, I can't find Cappuccino here right now. But Lasting Diarrhea has a 991k on the LN density. So I'm honestly not sure if this is a good pick right now.
Yeah, indeed. It's...
Wait a second. There we go. Cappuccino has a 967k 67 on LN2. Huh. This is exactly what I was saying. You know, if this was their actual pick, I would say this is a tactical blunder. Why? Because you're picking LN2 quite possibly. Wait, what is LN2 again? LN2 is in this chart, in this round. I mean, LN2 is
basically density, but it's a lot more technical and wildcardish. So it's not traditional density. Just think like some of the wildcards from the LN4.
Look at the chat. Look at the chat. Veloce cannot play. This is the third chart in a row. She cannot play. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's just... I just think that if this is really the matchup, that in paper, this is a tactical blunder. But we'll have to see first.
Yeah, indeed. There isn't really any straws that we can grasp at right now, as... Once again, this is something that a lot of players are just going to have to, like, kind of subconsciously recognize when it comes to a variety of matches that we are going to be having in this one. And especially for the likes of Nickname going into an Ellen map, this is basically going to at least show, or at least okay, I'm at a loss for words. My English is not Englishing at the moment, but essentially, if Nickname is able to at least tackle some of these LNs, then this is going to help the case of QQ Robot when it comes to accuracy. It's just that usually, I think most people would suspect that Veloz would beat their breadwinner for when it comes to these more LN-centric maps, especially when it gets a little less traditional and wildcardish, as Lasting Diarrhea is going to be the one in the driver's seat for the time being with like 1,500 points at the moment. It's very slim. So So even a single miss at the moment can just switch things over if it happens.
But like, now do you see why I was really not a fan of this pick? Because you're seeing this right now. Lasting Diarrhea is in the driver's seat. And sure, this is not safe yet because we've seen many changes happen. Lasting Diarrhea, at least from what I've observed, this is sort of like his strength. Like, LN density has always been one of his strong points. And Cappuccino, sure, can play LN density, but not to the extent of precision that Lasting Diarrhea has right now. And that miss is, you see what I'm saying? This is a tactical blunder. This is a result. Like, I thought QQ Robot had it in the bag. I thought the charts that they picked were great. I thought that the players they put were great. And then they pick this. this is really not really difficult to recover from.
Yeah, this is not really going to help them in the grand scheme of things, especially when Disciples of Triple T has at least proven to be as well-rounded as them.
Sorry, I was saying something. I was like, oh my god, don't miss.
I know. Bro, the freaking PTSD of Demi-Fiend in that one Ellen Free match must have gone to you when you saw that stare down. I swear to God. Oh no. But that said, 12,000 points in the advantage for Lost in Diarrhea at the moment, and at this point, we're going into the final quarter of the map. There's still a lot of time, and that next miss from Nickname is basically almost gonna guarantee it.
What happened?
What
happened?
Huh? What?
Oh, okay, whatever. Well,
bro,
moving on from that, I do think that Lasting Diarrhea was gonna win it either way. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I have that exact. I know how that feels. I know exactly how that feels. So let me just explain to the chat. So basically, his hand is going to be really painful if he continued that play. That's why he decided to give that point, which is fair. I understand totally. That's like I have the same condition, not the same, but I have a similar condition, which is exactly why my performances in tournaments recently haven't really been that well. I've been injured for 3 years already, since 2023. My left hand has been injured, so I understand totally where he's coming from. I get it. He already lost the point. His left hand could have been in even more pain. I understand. I totally understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, really unfortunate case of that as well, as we're going to be seeing Disciples of Triple T get that point as well. It's basically 3-2 in their favor for the time being, even with that unfortunate drop. Albeit, the case itself was very understandable, so there wasn't really much that Nickname was able to do to be able to recover that point, just going off the amount of misses that we had seen on that one. But I'm assuming at that point, it might just be good to bring out Veloce again to play another few maps, just so Nickname can at least look to recover when it comes to, you know, some of the later game picks they're going to have to make, especially. So while it is Disciples of Triple T's pick in the meantime, I would assume they might want to stick to some more maps we have on the board. It's just that, okay, they're going Rice 4. Huh.
This pick's so shocking to me that I forgot it was Triple T's pick.
Yeah, this is like something I think most people would have expected that this is something that QQ Robot would have chosen, but Veloce is going to be coming back in for this one, so I'm assuming they're going to bring back New Dragon as well, where it's probably going to have to matter. This one is also just as dangerous as the other Rice picks that we have seen, mainly because this is the shortest map in the entire map pool. The Rice category has both the longest map and the shortest map in the entire map pool. So that definitely should send some waves to both these players that they should definitely take in.
I think it's a good pick. But Veloce being here. So that means QQ Robot is going the Ak route. It's valid. It's a risky pick, but it's gonna pay off. Because you gotta remember this, I think New Dragon's gotta be side reading this as well. Assuming what they're saying is true, or assuming that I interpreted their statement right. New Dragon's probably side reading this, and Veloce probably has practices even a little. What I'm afraid of, though, is Veloce's consistency. It's a 1 minute and 46 second chart. So that means if you miss, it's pretty much game over, unless your opponent misses too.
Indeed, yeah. The map itself isn't really that physically difficult either. It's really just 2 free sections that really have some difficulty and are very burst-oriented as well. Once again, this is a map that was originally seen in Soft 5's quarterfinals round. So the fact that it was that difficult and it's been bumped down to round of 32, it's definitely going to be a little difficult for both these players to be able to act well while there isn't really much notes to hit either. There's only 1600 and then the map is over as soon as that timer hits. As soon as both players end up, they FC'd at literally under 2000 objects.
Thank God, I can't take charts like this. I'm scared. Oh well. See what I was saying. This is what I was afraid of. See, this is the thing. Honestly speaking, this is the terrifying thing. I understand that Veloce probably has the better accuracy, but New Dragon has been consistently FCing. In fact, I don't think New Dragon has missed a single time in this match yet. So. Then again, though, I do think Veloce might be in, probably to consider as well, nickname's hand condition, which I do hope isn't really that serious right now. Because I understand that pain is it's really not a good thing to have. So, Then again, we don't know what the strategy is. It could be that, it could be this, but all we know is that New Dragon is up. 7,000 points. This looks big, but it's not. Any mistake from New Dragon will give it away. I mean, look, accuracy leads in Veloce, and it's already getting lower significantly.
Yeah, especially with shorter maps, misses and any other misjudgment for that matter are going to be a lot more critical when it comes to the fact that you don't have much time to be able to at least hit everything. And there's a lot of really awkward transitional moments in this map alone that can really switch things over if New Dragon isn't the most careful player right at this very instant. 66,000 points are in the favor, and it's dropped, but it didn't drop enough to be able to bring it back to the favor QQ Robot. It's going to be 6,200 points, a 990k, just barely above that margin as well. It's just misjudgment for both players. New Dragon isn't really the player that is like as adept as Veloce is in terms of ratio. It's just more a consistency battle between these two at that point.
Yeah, I mean, see, I'm just saying, I thought they had it on their hands. And then this happens. This is the thing. That LM2 pick, this is what it led to. That pretty much costed them 2 points, if you think about it.
Yeah, it really did. It's insane.
I think what QQ Robot should have done was pick Rise 6, make New Dragon and Nickname play that, and I think that would have had a better chance. But hindsight is 2020. You probably don't know the situation at hand. Like, it's very easy for people to say, oh, we could have done that, we could have done this. But when you're in the match and the stakes are very high, there are times where you don't know what's the right pick to make, and you don't know what's gonna happen. So I totally understand. Even if this was a tactical mistake or something like this, it's normal for stuff like that to happen for anyone. But all you can do now is pray that you'll be able to perform consistently and hope that your opponent will miss. Because QQ Robot, right now, they're the ones in a bad position. I think QQ Robot should pick Hybrid 1. Why? Last thing that you missed, you might as well pick something that can gamble a miss on QQ Robot. Then again though, Triple T can just pick LN3 and that will force Veloce to play and Nickname to play the tiebreaker. So I think, with that in mind, QQ Robot should just pick Rise 6.
Yeah, especially, look, I think Rise 6 is probably one of the most curveball picks in general. Oh, they're going Rise 6. Okay, well, no way.
Yeah, it's on. That is the point is, you can't just make Veloce play another chart. Because you have to remember, if Veloce plays this chart, he might not be able to play tiebreaker, and you do not want that, right?
Yeah, especially in this round, the tiebreaker is definitely something that players would want to avoid so much more just because of the map itself. This is like kind of the gimmick that was thrown in for this map in particular, where I wanted to see how players could strategize more around the tiebreaker itself. So this is going to be interesting to see if it does come down to this being our first ever tiebreaker round. I feel like Satan, bro, over the tiebreaker choice.
So you cannot just play 4 charts in a row. So unfortunately, QQ Robot is now in a ditch in a way, where you have to pick something that you aren't even sure if you have a knack advantage. You aren't sure if you have a consistency advantage, but it's not like it's impossible. So like with this pick, it's like a 40% chance instead of like what a 20% chance. You don't want Cappuccino playing extremely long charts, especially charts that have a lot of LNs, especially considering what just happened. We don't want any conditions getting worse, okay? Please take care of yourselves.
Indeed. Absolutely, yeah. Definitely the one thing to look out for in life is to ensure that your health is at least intact and you're looking after everything the best that you can. Give it the most careful care you can give. As so far, so good. Both players are off to a pretty good start on this map. There is literally zero difference. That's the issue.
Well, it's the same thing that we saw on, was that again? Rice, I forgot the pick, the first pick. Was it Rice 4 or Rice 3? I don't know. What was the Rad Wimps one?
Rice free.
Rice 3, okay.
Hyperventilation, that's the 4-minute one.
Okay, so here's the problem. Cappuccino has the accuracy lead. You have a lot of boost rolls, so I can understand why they pick this. They want to pick something similar-ish to the Radwimps pick, but the problem here is New Dragon has always been consistent, but I saw a great hit of this! That's the first time! Oh my god, the moment I said consistency, New Dragon loses it, and now Cappuccino has the path, has the way to lead it to a potential tiebreaker, but you gotta remember, the next pick is Triple T's.
Exactly, and Triple T's final pick at that as well, which they easily have the luxury to go outside the Rice category and just leave Rice 1 in the dust, as New Dragon is going to flicker at the sheer hearing of consistency alone. It's 9,000 points in the favor nickname for the time being, and for this being the Holiday Rice map out of the few because of its wildcard polyrhythm tech aspect that's just so deliberately thrown out everywhere across the board, this is definitely going to serve as a really strong point for QQ Robot if they want to force that tiebreaker, because they're gonna really need it at that point if they want to remain in the winner's bracket and prevent the upset from ongoing.
Kafu has to hold really well. These rolls are getting scarier. It's scary as time passes on. I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh my god. Okay, it's time.
You cannot drop on this part. You cannot drop on this part.
Okay. Cappuccino needs to hold. There's so many rolls still. There's so many bursts and anchors. You could easily miss if you're not careful, but Cappuccino's gonna hold for the full combo. Some grades, it does not matter. Just hold on. Don't drop a miss. There we go.
And they did it.
If Cappuccino missed, it's pretty much over. Oh my god, that was a 50. Okay, if that 50 was a miss,
50.
I think Cappuccino still wins, but like 4K lead or something.
Thank God. That was insane. Nickname had to win this pick if they wanted to try and at least bring themselves further to a tiebreaker situation, because now with Disciples of Triple T's pick, they are in a precarious decision where they need to pick right. They can't pick Rise, so they have to go for either LN Free or Hybrid 1. Those are basically their only options, because Rice 1 may as well just be a death sentence as well. Basically, black flag pick on the board. You don't want to pick that, especially when it comes to the likes of Minesweeper, is it? Yeah.
I don't like this pick. LN3. So you're gonna be below. So
something. The one thing you need to understand is that Veloz has a really strong advantage over Ratio in comparison to New Dragon, who was basically also sight reading these map pulls, as it has been alluded.
And oh my god!
No!
Yes!
306!
3-5!
2!
Oh, if Veloce V1 double less that, they win. But the tables have turned. Lasting 30 is now the